Welcome once again to our series on the 5 most critical elements of an investable business plan. As you already know, my objective in this series is to not only help you position your business to raise capital, but to help you achieve a higher level of success. Today I'm going to focus on element number 4, speed to revenue. Have you designed a business plan with a calculated and accelerated path to revenue? Now you might think that speed to revenue is only important for startups backed by big VC money or maybe early stage public companies trying to beat quarterly expectations. But in fact, it's quite the opposite. If you can't plot out how to get to revenue quickly as a self-funded entrepreneur, you're likely setting yourself up for disaster. You see, the longer you go without proving your concept is commercially viable, the harder it will be to keep your team together, the harder it will be to raise ongoing funds, and the harder it will be to self-finance your continued operations. Now, I'm not saying that you should shy away from big ideas. I'm simply saying that you need to be resourceful when pursuing those ideas so that you can give yourself the best chance of actually achieving them. I'll give you an example. When I first started Glassbox, I knew it was going to take a considerable amount of time to build our software, time to develop our marketing collateral, and time to fully test the interconnectivity of all the portals on our platform. I initially estimated that it would take about 6 months just grinding with our development team before I could launch a commercially viable product. I figured that the only way for me to make it through this development period was to find a way to get to revenue before our software was ready to go to market. So in a way, I started backwards. I built our client-facing website, marking our core services as coming soon, and I began advertising for ancillary services that I could deliver without the use of our portal system. This not only gave me the ability to begin generating revenue, it also gave me the ability to get a head start on branding. Basically, I started billing for advisory and legal services in the same sort of transactions we plan to service through our portal system in the future. The positive to this approach? I started bringing in revenue almost immediately, and I simultaneously began to generate a lot of interest in what was coming soon. The negative? Well, I thought I was going to take 6 months, and it actually took 2.5 years to complete all of the portal infrastructure. So in turn, I frustrated a lot of people by not being able to meet my development timeline. So I suppose there's no perfect way to bootstrap a startup. But the message I want to convey here is that finding a way to generate revenue during my development period actually enabled me to complete my development. Without cash coming in, there's no way I would have been able to sustain our business for over 2 years. Now, I know some of you watching this might be saying, Steve, it's very easy for you to work under this hybrid service/development model to make things work, since you have a professional license. But not every startup has that option. My response to this? Well, it's simple. A successful entrepreneur never runs out of solutions. I'll give you just one more brief example. I recently met 2 entrepreneurs in Los Angeles who started a manufacturing company to build prefab home additions. Basically casitas that can be placed in someone's backyard. And I asked them how they thought they would be able to survive in such a capital-intensive business with no investors and no prior experience. Their answer? They had broken down their business model into phases. And in the first phase, they had become dealers for other manufacturers who were already selling similar products. And simultaneously, they started on the design and pre-production of their own product. This approach gave them tons of benefits. Instead of just burning through cash reserves while toiling away on the development of a product that may or may not be well received, they enabled themselves to establish a more intimate understanding of their market before actually having to invest in manufacturing. They gained an inside understanding of how their competition markets, and they made industry relationships that could help actually finance their operations once they got up and running, and even assist with distribution down the road. Now, most startups don't begin their journey with a $1 billion investment from Silicon Valley. They have to be scrappy, just like the guys I just described. They have to find ways to get things done that others don't think are possible. And part of the game is coming up with ways to generate revenue from inception to support the development of big ideas. This skill is really critical, not just to raise capital, but to be successful in general. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in this series, and I look forward to seeing you soon in our 5th and final episode.